Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a video talking about my reading journal for this year. So if you didn't know, last year I did my reading journal in this Paper Shower bullet journal, which I absolutely loved. I have flip throughs and setups and all that on my channel, and I really enjoyed having a reading journal like this where I could track all my reading, do challenges, like this alphabet challenge, and mark all the books that I wanted to buy, the books that I received, and everything like that. So if you want to see like the more in-depth flip throughs of everything that I did last year, you should go check out my flip throughs. I'm gonna kind of show you just a quick month recap of how I did my reading journal last year, and then show you what I've been doing this year as my low maintenance reading journal. So I really enjoyed this journal, but it was just too much work for me. It was too time consuming and I couldn't do it with school. So this year I kind of changed how I did it. But basically last year I had a few of these tracker pages at the front. I was tracking my favorite book of the month, some anticipated releases, and all that. So then every month I had a cover page that I would do. I would mark the days that I read and color in every square for the day if I read. I would track the books I read and the dates that I finished them. I would do this collage spread for all the books that I read and put in the little covers. And then for each book, I would write what I thought about it if it was a new book. So if it was a reread, I didn't write my thoughts, but if it was a new book, I did. So I had about 3 pages of that for every month, I think. 2 or 3 at least, or 2 or 3 spreads. And then at the end, I would do a recap, calculate the books I read, how many of them were new, how many pages, how many were rereads, how many were 5 stars, and then how many days I read out of the month. Now that just took too much time. I seriously, last year, I felt like doing this was a chore every single month, even if I really loved the end result. And I also didn't really care to write my thoughts about each book. For me, that's not something that, it just felt like a chore every time I had to write my thoughts about the book, and I had to catch up for all the books that I hadn't written my thoughts about yet. And it was just this whole ordeal. And while I really love how this journal came out, and it has a really special place in my heart and stands really proudly on my shelf, this year I decided I needed to do something different. So yeah, let's talk about that. This is what I like to call my low maintenance reading journal. And to be honest, it's not actually one reading journal. If you've seen any of my monthly setups for every month, you'll see that I make trackers with my monthly setup pages in each journal, depending on where I am, to track my reading and track the TV shows and movies I've watched. So let's go ahead and look through what I've done so far this year. So here was January spread. This was in my, 34th journal, and this is where I started off the year 2023. So of course I did do the spread for all the books that I read this month, and I stuck in the little covers. The decorations, well, mainly the stickers, are from Powell's Art Nook, and I like to keep a consistent theme with this spread as well as this spread, which is what I used throughout the month to track the books that I was reading. So on this side I tracked the books that I read, so I just wrote them down along with the finish dates. And then on this side, I would write the TV shows and the movies that I watched. So this is where I would list that out. Again, the stickers are from Powell's Art Nook. I just wanted to look super cohesive so that you could tell that these were both spreads for January. Now, I had January in this journal, and this basically took up the whole month, so there was no issue with that. Now here was my second journal of the year, number 35, and my first February spread was right here. And I used some stickers from Clovercraft Studios to decorate. Let me make sure you guys can see. Okay, great. Again, stuck in all the covers for the books that I read that month, and then I did the tracking on the 2 pages after that. So basically this spread I did at the end of the month once I knew all the books that I read, but I filled this in throughout the month so I could keep track of what books I was reading and what TV shows and movies I was watching. So this was February, and it was all good because I hit March in this journal. Which was this spread right here, super cute. Again, all these setups and stuff are on my channel if you're interested in watching it and seeing how I create these spreads. But yeah, so these stickers are from Pineberry Paper. Again, did the same thing, just like to put all the covers. And for me, I thought this was my favorite spread, or it is my favorite spread that I had done in my journal last year. So of course I wanted to keep making them this year. It's just so simple to do a little bit of decoration and then stick in the covers. For this, I just copy the images off of Google and paste them into a Google Docs and then print it out all with the same size. And yeah, so super simple spread. I always love how these turn out. I feel like it's so pretty. And then again, we have our tracking spread using more of those Pineberry Paper stickers. So this was March. Now the problem was I was only in this journal until March 4th. So then after that, I had to keep going back between this journal and the journal that I used in March, which I don't have right here because there's no reading journal spreads in it. But I had to have like both of these journals in hand so that I could constantly be updating this and then still be working in that other journal for my daily entries and everything else. So like for me, that was a bit annoying that I had to keep going back and forth between these two journals, because usually when I'm done with a journal, I just like to shelve it. And of course I look back at it, but I don't like having two journals at the same time. Which, to be honest, I don't know how that was different from me keeping this journal last year, but it just felt different. Like, it felt like I was going back and forth between these two journals just so I could keep updating it rather than being able to shelve this away like I wanted to. Maybe it's because this journal I knew I would need to have by my side all year, but this one I was like ready to be done with, if that makes any sense at all. Because it was technically completed. I was just working on these pages like throughout the whole entire month of March, while I was still in that other daily journal. So that's one thing that I didn't really love about this system, and we're gonna talk about how that's gonna change for next year. But anyway, then here I moved into April. This is my notebook therapy journal. And this was the spread that I made for April. Super cute. Stickers are from Hedgehog's Den. I love all the covers. It's so colorful. Again, I just really like making these spreads. Something about it is just so satisfying. So yeah, this was April. Here was my April trackers. And then same thing with this journal. I started May in this journal. So my May collage spread was in here, as well as my trackers. But the thing is, I finished this journal on May 15th. So again, I was going back and forth between this journal and my 38th journal while I was like doing my daily spreads in there and my reading journal spreads in here and tracking the book, and it was just kind of a pain. But anyway, okay. And then last but not least, we have my June spread that I want to show you. I just finished this recently because it is early July right now. But yes, here is my spread for June. I use these stickers from Pine Bay Paper. Love how this turned out, as always, super cute. And I love pulling in so many stickers. It's just so fun getting to use up all these small shop stickers that I've just kind of been hoarding. So those were my spreads for the first half of the year in my low maintenance reading journal system. Now, again, really enjoyed it because it is so low maintenance. I just have to go in and write down the titles of the books I read. And then at the end of the month, I print out the pictures and do a little fun collage spread. I love that it is so little work as compared to like this journal that I kept last year. But because I don't like having it all in the separate journals, I have a plan for next year. Okay, here's the plan. This is a tiny, thin journal that I got from a pack of 3 from Indigo, which is a bookstore in Canada. The brand is Noda. It's gorgeous. Look at this foil. It has deckled edges on the side and dot grid pages. Now, originally, I had planned to use this as a travel journal because I've used this journal as a travel journal before. So I was like, perfect. Let's just keep it going with a theme. It's like thin, so I can use it for a short trip and I can still fill it up. But I figured since this has dot grid paper, which is actually my favorite kind of paper for making those collage spreads, just because it's so easy to line everything up, and I don't love writing on dot grid, I figured this would be the perfect reading journal for next year. Like, it's so thin, so I don't feel like I have to fill up all the pages, and I definitely can with the kind of spreads that I plan on doing next year. So I feel like this is just like ideal. And also it lays flat because it has Coptic binding, so this will be perfect for like taking photos of my spreads, and it won't get too chunky so that like the pictures look weird. And I feel like this is just amazing. Like, this is the most genius idea I've ever had to do my reading journal in this next year. So the plan is, I'm sure I'll do a video in December talking about my setup, but the plan is to do like a cover page here, and then maybe do like, I don't know, TBR or a book, like this spread right here where I track how many books I read throughout the year. I feel like this was just so simple to do, although it does take a while to draw the circles or the squares at the beginning. Like, you know, it's fun, and I can track exactly how many books I read every year. And then maybe I'll do like book of the month, and that's it. Because these other spreads I wasn't too like keen on. So that would be fun. And then so after I do those like little tracker spreads at the beginning, I can do my January reads with the collage and the covers, and then I can do my trackers. Or maybe I'll do it the other way around and do the trackers first and then the collage. We'll see. It doesn't really matter. But because there's so few pages, I can fill up every single page of this throughout the year and have a complete reading journal that I don't feel like was a chore. Like, it can be low maintenance once again, and just, I feel like this is perfect. I've been rambling so much about this, but I hope you guys understand what I mean. I feel like this is just the ideal best of both worlds, where I can have that separate journal that I loved with this, but also have like the low maintenance spreads that I loved with the system that I've been doing this year. And I just feel like it's perfect. Anyway, if you guys have been keeping a reading journal this year, let me know in the comments how it's going. I would love to know how you guys do your reading journal system. That is everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.